Hello and welcome to English 123. I'm your professor, Professor Hannah. I just want to take a moment to introduce myself, introduce the course, and we're going to be looking at the syllabus and looking what we have ahead of us for this session. So first off, welcome to the new session. Hopefully it's one behind you and one ahead of you and continuing on through your academic career. And really what we want to stress in this class is, of course, academic success. My job here, my role here is to walk you through this process to help you to ensure a successful experience in the class. That's my goal personally for you. I just want to stress that right from the beginning. My goal for you is student success, academic success. It's my goal for you to really learn important academic skills that are going to be applicable to what's coming ahead of you in further classes for either your major or just other general ed courses that you may have coming up. So I want to stress the fact that this class is very foundational. It is very applicable to just academia, okay? Really, three things I think that you're going to get from this class, aside from writing, are critical thinking. In addition to writing, critical thinking, you're going to be doing a lot of thinking, critical reading, a lot of reading, critical research, lots of research. Those are really the main focus of this class. And then also just discipline, also just time management, learning how to manage your time, manage your research schedule, managing how you're going to approach this research project, learn how to really strategize academically to be able to overcome some obstacles, overcome some issues. And that's really what this course is. It is an academic exercise in what is going to be skills that are essential for what you have ahead of you. So I can't stress that enough, and you're going to hear me talk about that probably quite often. Because it's really easy to lose sight of that. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? What is this course all about? And really, it's really boiled down to just pure academia in this class, I think. That's my opinion. Of course, some may disagree, but that's just really the way I approach this, because I think you're going to get a lot of value at it from that approach. Rather than just, I have a composition class, and once I'm finished with it, I don't want to think about it anymore. I'm just going to move on. And really, I hope you don't do that. I hope that what you learn from this class is something that you really hold on to, okay? Because ultimately, our goal here is for you to develop your own personalized, let me stress that, personalized approach to the writing process, okay? This is a course focused on the writing process, not the writing product, okay? And there is a difference, and you'll learn that as we go through this. Yes, there is a product that we do need to produce. There is a product that we need to turn in for a grade, and it is evaluated. It is graded critically. So that is part of it, but it is the process that gets you to that end product is really what's important, because the process will inevitably produce what it should when the process is done in an effective way. So what does that mean? Well, there is a strategy, there is a template that we want to follow, that we want to learn, but we want to combine that with your own likes and dislikes, your own way of really approaching this, the way you think, the way you might, your preference. And I know that may seem somewhat vague at first, but it really comes down to you, how you want to approach your writing, and what topic you want to explore, and what things you want to deal with first in terms of pre-writing, in terms of brainstorming, in terms of research development, research strategies. So a lot of those things are up to you. There are certain things in place and stepping stones that you want to get to, and certain milestones you want to get to. Those really shouldn't change, but how you get there is really up to you. And you can follow what someone else has done, of course. There are set ways you can do this, of course, but really it's about taking ownership of your own process and your own approach. And that's really what we want to get you to, because that's really going to help you develop academically, develop as an independent thinking student, a critically thinking student, independently critical thinking Christian believing student, if you are, if you do share that faith. So what we're going to do in this video, in this short time, is we're going to look through the syllabus and kind of talk about some of the main points of the course, and really look at what exactly this is all going to be, about. So if you open up your syllabus, of course, English 113, Intermediate Composition. It is, of course, a continued practice from what you may have experienced in English 113. English 113 was broken up in different genres of writing, different writing assignments, whereas this is more geared towards research-driven, thesis-driven writing. Okay, your last course, you likely finished that course with some type of argumentative paper, research type of paper. So that's where we're picking up, where that class left off. It is the thesis-driven, research-driven, argumentative-driven paper, writing assignment. So of course this is an online class. All the work that we're going to be doing is through Blackboard. Everything's going to be turned in through Blackboard. Each week, I want to point this out from the syllabus, each week begins on Monday and ends on Sunday. Assignments typically, other than the specific assignments noted towards the end of the semester, are due on Sunday night, typically. But be very cautious and aware of the course schedule in the syllabus, and of course I'll make those notes as we get to that portion of the syllabus in a moment. But you should be active within the course. Online you should be, of course, logging in, I would say daily, because you never know what may change. You never know what emails may come up, what assignments, what announcements may come. You want to be periodically throughout the day checking in and seeing what may have come up. Now, there may not be any changes, but there could be a change, and there could be an email, there could be an announcement. So you don't want to just disconnect necessarily and only focus on assignments. You want to be aware of what emails you're receiving, and please respond to those emails if you do receive communication from me. Okay, so here we have contact information. You can reach me by phone, of course. I prefer phone conferences to be by appointment, so if there is something that you need, possibly make an appointment with me. I prefer no text messages, but if absolutely necessary, I do accept phone calls if we have to discuss something over the phone. However, email is going to be the best way to reach me. You can email me anytime, night or day. Email me anytime you like. There's a chance I could respond. You never know. I could be up late. I could be up early. There could be a time where I will be able to get to that email and respond to you. I don't necessarily have office hours because I'm as an adjunct. I don't have office. I don't have an office with CVU Online. However, again, we can make an appointment for phone calls if necessary. But again, email is going to be the best way to communicate with me. Okay, now moving on to textbooks. There's 2 textbooks for the course. One is a handbook, one is the actual text that has, there's reading assignments from both, but the actual textbook for the course is Writing Research Papers by Lester and Lester. It's a complete guide. It's going to be our main guide for this course. The other is a handbook, a style guide that has a mixture, of course, of usage, style, mechanics, all of those things that you'll be able to utilize. So what's the course objective? Well, we want to learn pre-writing strategies. We want to learn how to create annotations for our bibliographies. We want to be able to learn how to go through the revision, the editing, the drafting process. That's part of our objective 1. Objective 2, we want to learn how to find credible sources. We want to be able to develop the appropriate works cited or sources page depending on APA, MLA. we want to be able to be familiar with that process because those are indeed essential to academic writing is proper sources, proper notation, annotation, documentation, those things. Objective 3, we need to really learn and focus on editing and revising and reflecting on what we're writing. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to revise, revise, and revise because as you're drafting, as you're revising, we're always perfecting, we're always working on making the paper better. And a paper can always be better, it can always get better, regardless of what academic level you're at, whether you're an undergraduate student, a master's student, or working on your PhD. There is always room to improve effective communication through the written medium. Okay, so we want to work on that. We want to be able to identify weaknesses, identify certain things about our writing that need improvement. All those things. It makes us more aware, makes us more critical, makes us more effective in our academic writing. Okay, so those are the objectives. Moving on to just the assignments that we do have. The first assignment we have is a citation assignment. This is getting you familiarized with APA MLA, reference page or works cited page. It's a fairly straightforward assignment. That's what we're going to be working on first. We want to pay special attention to those citations and how they're formulated. You'll be able to use your handbook for that, or you can use something like Purdue OWL. That's also something available to you if you're familiar with Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab. You can certainly use that anytime. So I use it quite often when I maybe can't remember something or I want to look something up just to be familiarized with it. Always use Purdue OWL, but your handbook is going to be a great resource as well. Next assignment, annotated bibliography. The main point of this is to help you to understand and be able to articulate what your sources are and what they say and how they interrelate with one another. Okay, it comes in 2 stages. There's a part 1 and a part 2. Part 1 is just the first 3 to 4 citations. Part 2 is the more expanded citations of all 10. Moving on, we have the proposal, which is basically you communicating, providing some type of, an announcement, a commercial, if you want to look at it that way, of what you're going to be arguing, what your research project is going to be. There'll be specific details in that you'll need to provide in your proposal, and that will communicate to me on a fairly short paper what exactly I would be expecting. I can provide you feedback in terms of maybe some things that I think maybe can be corrected or maybe another direction you might go in. So it just gives me a way of seeing where you're headed, where you're going, what your ideas are, and then it gives me an opportunity to provide you feedback on your upcoming paper that you'll be working on. And then you'll see after that we have essay drafts, drafts 1, 2, 3. That is really the main assignment of the course. This course is really geared toward one research project, one research paper. So everything that's not research paper is really is leading up to and developing those drafts. So annotated bibliography, those are your sources, your proposal, that's telling you what your thesis is and what your main points are. And then you're going to be working on that and developing that into your first draft. Then working on that, revising, developing with your second draft, and so on into your third draft, your final draft. And then lastly is the reflection essay, which is kind of looking back at what you've learned and how you've learned it and what you've gained from the course. It's a really important element of the class. It really helps you see the value that's been, the value that you've gained from the class. All right, and then lastly we have, in addition we have Smart Thinking, which is basically the online tutoring lab. These are very important submissions that you will get feedback for your paper from an online tutor specialized for your paper, specialized for composition. So you definitely want to make up those points and turn in those Smart Thinking assignments. In addition, we have planning and reflection assignments. There'll be a few assignments where it'll be some brainstorming, some reflection, some planning, some pre-writing assignments, so there'll be some things put in there as well. So as you come across those, um, they will be very useful uh, stepping stone assignments to get you through as you develop your main essays. Okay, so again, if you have any questions about these, please email me and I'll be able to respond, specifically with what questions you might have. Total points, 1,000 points for the course. Total breakdown of each of those assignments that we're going to be working on. Um, the course schedule. So this week coming up, we have just reading and complete the citation assignment, finding sources, finding credible sources, understanding what that means. Then annotating sources number 2, proposal and planning, draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, reflection, and that's 8 weeks. We're done very quickly in this class. You want to stick really close to the schedule. Try not to get behind. I know it's very easy in an 8-week class, online. Life's busy, of course. But I think time management is going to be one of the biggest obstacles to this class. It always is. I've seen this session after session. Time management is always a big factor in success in this class. Differences between an A and a B and a C, and a non-passing grade, unfortunately. So really do your best, absolute best, to stay on pace with the course. And I understand things do come up, adverse situations do arise, uncontrollable, unforeseen, situations that are very difficult, I understand, but we do need to finish, we do need to complete the assignments. So of course, expectations, we want to handle and conduct ourselves in a professional manner. Professionalism is key. I would also include in that Christian character as well, professionalism, of course. We want to do unto others as we want to be done unto us. We want to say unto others we want unto us. We want to follow that golden rule. When we have communications through discussion boards, responding to assignments, things like that, we want to use tact, of course. We want to conduct a way that brings glory and honor to the Lord at all times, of course. That's what our ultimate goal is to bring glory to the Lord. So regular contact, you want to be aware of this. My responsibilities are, of course, to reply to emails within 24 hours, not counting weekends. So on a weekday, if I get an email, you should be getting a reply back within 24 hours. Assignments, feedback. Minor assignments is 72 hours, okay? Section tests, small papers, small projects. So 3 full days, not including weekends. Large assignments, major essays, large points. Assignments that have the larger points are going to be 1 full week, okay, not including weekends. Okay, so yeah, submission deadlines this is all after the submission deadline, and it excludes weekends. Okay, late assignments. This is going to be very important, of course. There is some flexibility in the late assignment policy. For weeks 1 through 7, I will accept late work. However, there is a 5% deduction for each day that it's late. Okay, so be mindful of that. The longer it's late, the more points you lose. It unfortunately adversely affects your grade in the long run. But due to time constraints, you will likely not receive feedback for late assignments. That's just because of priority to those who are able to turn it in on time. So you likely won't receive feedback, little if any, according to the syllabus. Late work will not be accepted. Now, this is really important to understand and to make note of. Late work will not be accepted after week 7. So at the close of week 7, Sunday night of week 7, there won't be any late work accepted for week 8. because of the time constraints and everything with grading and final grades and everything having to come in. So any assignments that you may have prior that aren't turned in by the end of by the last day of week 7, those will result in a 0. Now, of course, if you miss an assignment from week 2 and you turn it in by week 7, you're likely going to have very little points because of that 5% stipulation. But it is there. What I do ask, though, is that I receive an email regarding your late work, regarding, I would like you to email me to inform me of you're expecting to turn this in late so that we can coordinate that. That is one expectation I have. Please notify me by mail of any late work before it is turned in. Okay, that would help me and help us to better manage that and organize that and make sure that it's getting graded and you're getting the credit that you need. And we can work things out as well. If you email me and let me know, we can, hopefully work that out in terms of what you expect, when you expect to turn it in. Okay. So moving on, netiquette, of course, that just comes into professionalism. It's using the technology that we have here, online message boards, emails, discussion boards in an ethical way, a respectful way, a way that is going to be representative of our professional faith as well. Academic dishonesty. This is next to late work, next to turning in your assignments on time. This is probably the most important here, is turning in work that has been done by you. Please do not turn in assignments that are not yours. Please do not cheat. Okay. Any infractions with the code of conduct, the honor code, will unfortunately result in an adverse effect on your grade. So there's a specific process that we have to go through. It can lead to a 0 on the assignment or a 0 in the course, depending on what academic administration wants to do, depending on what's the nature of the issue. It can lead to a failure of the course. It can lead to a 0 on the assignment. It can lead to both. That's just something to be aware of. So plagiarism is turning in work that is not yours. Plagiarism is turning in work that you've turned in for another course. So I want to make that clear. If you've done another assignment, if you're perhaps maybe retaking this class from a prior semester, do not turn in work that you've already turned in for a 1, 2, 3 class. It has to be fresh, has to be new, has to be a new assignment that doesn't show up in Safe Assign. And again, you don't want to turn in work from another paper from some other student that you may have borrowed or purchased or found. All that does is just really affect your grade. It's a very unfortunate, unpleasant experience for me to go through, for administration to go through. We just really want to avoid that and prevent that at all costs, because it is a serious issue. We want to have academic integrity. We want to have academic excellence. So all I can do is just stress to not fall into that temptation, because it can be tempting, because if you have a deadline, if you're stressed, if you had some kind of issue come up, a non-school issue, a work-related issue, a family-related issue, and you haven't been able to spend the time on the assignment, it's very tempting to go that way and to plagiarize or to cheat. But I would say better to turn in what you have, even though it may not be complete, even though it may not be your best. A 40 out of 100 is better than 0 with a plagiarism issue. 50 out of 100 is better than a 0 with a plagiarism issue. So maybe not doing your absolute best is better than compromising your integrity for the grade. So I just have to spend that time, and I know it's like, okay, I understand, you don't have to belabor that, but it really is an issue. I never really realized that as a student, that there were that many students that really do choose to plagiarize, but as a professor, I see it all the time, unfortunately. even at a Christian university. So I just want to stress as much as I possibly can, just don't go that way. Okay, don't compromise your integrity by plagiarizing or cheating. All right. So, any students with disabilities or any specific accommodations, please be sure to communicate that with student services. And I will need, I would need to receive specific written instructions from academic services regarding any such accommodations. I would direct you that way. Rather than communicating with that with me directly, I would need to have it come from administration if there were accommodations that were necessary. And there are options available for accommodations, of course. So definitely take advantage of that, um, with whatever those accommodations that you might need. But that concludes our syllabus. Again, if you have any questions, if you have anything that needs to be clarified, again, this course is all about success. It's all about doing well. It's all about giving it really your best. And so I just want to encourage you in that way. And I'm looking forward to this process. I'm looking forward to working with you. It is a privilege to be in this position, to be able to work with you and to share and to provide you what I've experienced, what I know, and provide you feedback where I can be helpful and constructive. So again, any questions you might have, please email me, please let me know. But again, be on the lookout for further lecture videos and assignments. And again, welcome to English 123. Thank you.